Electrical fields. Every device, every plug-in, every piece of electrical equipment gives off an electrical field. I'm here with expert Tim Driedger, who's got all his little gadgets to show us exactly, different appliances and the fields that they give off, and we're going to be testing the distance that we want to stay away and out of those fields to optimize our protection from this harmful field.
So we have a Vitamix base right here, and we have a tri-mode meter. So when I say tri-mode, it means it measures electrical fields, magnetic fields, and radio frequency fields. So you can think of electrical fields as the AC 110 that's in your walls. You can think of it as a dam. There's that potential of current that's being held behind the dam wall, same as in your wall. You have a potential of 110 volts and potential to flow current once you connect a circuit to it. So we're going to take this Vitamix and we're going to measure the electrical field in it, and then we're going to turn it on and measure the magnetic field and just show you exactly that, what fields they have when it's unplugged, plugged in, and running. So if you want to zoom in here to this meter.
Here we are.
So we're just going to switch over here to electrical field. EF is electrical field. So you can see it's reading about 0. So we're going to reach in here, and we're not plugged in, right? So there's no field. As soon as we plug it in,
This was an eye-opener for me.
we're now taking the AC field, and even though this thing isn't turned on, there's an electrical field sitting here, and you can see it's quite high. It's reading high to medium. So we can back up a little bit. Now we're into medium,
And then normal.
and then back down to normal. So
That's about, 2-3 feet out, right?
yeah, so any electrical appliance, and this is a grounded 3-prong plug, so rule of thumb is 2 to 3 feet away from anything that's plugged in to be outside of the field. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it on, and we're going to watch the magnetic field. So anytime you flow current, you create a magnetic field. And everyone's probably heard about or read about power with the problem with power lines, being close to a power line, because they're always running high voltage. But the magnetic fields that they produce when they're running current are potentially even more dangerous than the electrical fields. So let's take a look and see what we've got going on here. So we're going to turn this on. You can already see that.
And that's on low. That's just like the lowest setting of the Vitamix.
So we got 164 volts, 190 volts electrical field. We're going to go with magnetic field. So as soon as we turn it on, we got a magnetic field. We turn it off, basically nothing. That's just sort of background because we're close to other circuits. So now we're up to, on a low setting, 10 milligauss. For reference, anything more than 1 milligauss is probably someplace you don't want to be for any length of time. But we'll turn this up to maybe 4, 5, 6 as you're blending an elixir. So now we're up to, I'm changing my settings here. So we're up to about 10 milligauss. And you also see the electrical field's 142. So we're going to back up, back up, back up. So ideally we want to be down to about 1 volt per meter squared and less than 1.
Okay, I'm leaning back
We're about 3 feet away. And we're still at 3 volts per meter and 1.9 milligauss running this. So I'm just going to turn this down a little bit.
Yeah, I can see without the display on.
Still got to figure out the meter here. So we're still running low. We're still over 1 milligauss and over 3 volts as it's fluctuating. So again, when you want to work on these things, unless you are on it, you want to be 3 feet or more if you're blending anything for any length of distance. And even when it's plugged in, right? If you have a 3-foot counter, plug it in. You can leave it plugged in if you have about a 3-foot counter, then you know you're far enough away. But here we're still, this is short counter, but we're still about 1 volt. Oh, I'm in the wrong setting here. There we go. So, right, we're 2 to 3 feet away. So your best plan, unless you have a really deep counter and it's pushed back in a corner, If you're not using it, unplug it, especially if it's a work area. If you're working, preparing food around an appliance that's plugged in, you're being exposed to an electrical field.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
best practice, unplug it when not in use. And when you are using it, especially anything that draws a lot of current, your stove, your range, blenders, popcorn poppers, anything that draw a lot of current, turn it on, step back 3 feet, let it do its thing. Come in, turn it off, unplug it.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tim. Yeah, stay tuned. We got lots of more in this series, learning about and seeing the tools, tricks of the trade from Tim Driedger. Check out his contacts and details below.